The knife flashed in the dim light of the campfire, its blade catching the flicker of flames like a promise of violence unspoken. Aiden's hand trembled as he held it out, not toward me, but toward his own wrist, the sharp edge hovering just above the vein that pulsed with the rhythm of his ragged breaths. "Caleb," he whispered, his voice cracking like thunder rolling down the canyon. "If you walk away now, I swear to God, I'll end it right here, because without you, none of this means a damn thing." I froze on the edge of the trailhead overlook, the Rocky Mountains sprawling out below us like a jagged scar on the earth's skin, the kind of view that was supposed to heal a man but instead clawed at my chest. It was supposed to be a simple hike, me, Caleb Hayes, 27 and freshly divorced from a life I never wanted, tagging along with Aiden, my older brother Jake's best friend from college. Jake had begged me to come, said the fresh air would shake off the dust of my failed marriage to Sarah, the one that crumbled under the weight of secrets I couldn't voice. "Aiden's solid," Jake had said over beers the night before we left Denver. "He'll keep you from brooding too much. Just don't let him drag you into one of his wild detours." Wild detours. If only Jake knew. We'd started at sunrise from the trailhead near Estes Park, the aspens just turning gold in that late September crispness that makes Colorado feel like God's own backyard. Aiden led the way, his backpack slung low on broad shoulders, laughing about old times, Jake's epic keg stands, the time they skinny dipped in the campus fountain after finals. He was 30, all easy charm and sun-bleached hair, the kind of guy who made straight men question their compasses without ever saying a word. I'd always noticed him at family barbecues, the way his blue eyes lingered a beat too long, but I chalked it up to my own confusion. After all, I'd spent years building walls around the part of me that stirred at the sight of a man's jawline in the morning light. By noon, we'd crested the first ridge, sweat soaking through my flannel, the air thinning to that sweet burn in your lungs. Aiden pulled out a thermos of black coffee, spiked with whiskey, and we sat on a boulder overlooking Bear Lake, the water so still it mirrored the peaks like a lie waiting to shatter. "You ever think about what if?" he asked, handing me the cup, his fingers brushing mine in a way that sent heat coiling low in my gut. "What if what?" I took a swig, the burn chasing away the chill. "What if we'd met first, before Jake dragged me into your orbit like some third wheel?" His smile was half-cocked, teasing, but his eyes held something deeper, a shadow that made my pulse stutter. I laughed it off, blamed the altitude. "Jake's the glue, man. Without him, who'd introduce us misfits?" But as we pushed on, the trail narrowing to a single-file scramble up switchbacks, his words stuck like burrs. Aiden moved like he owned the mountain, pointing out mule deer tracks, naming wildflowers with the casual expertise of someone who'd escaped to these trails more than once. "After my folks kicked me out senior year," he said casually as we paused for water, "this is where I came. Jake found me up here once, half-starved and pissed at the world. Pulled me back down, kicked out." The words hung there, unspoken questions piling up. Aiden never talked about his family, but Jake had let slip once that Aiden's dad was some Bible-thumping rancher in Wyoming, the kind who saw anything less than straight and narrow as a sin worth a shotgun. I wanted to ask, but the trail demanded focus, loose scree underfoot, the wind whipping sharper now, carrying the faint rumble of a storm brewing over Long's Peak. We made camp by dusk in a sheltered hollow, the tent a flimsy nylon island against the gathering dark. Aiden built the fire with practiced ease, sparks dancing like fireflies as he recounted stories of climbing Half Dome solo, the rush of vertigo and triumph. I watched him, mesmerized by the play of light on his forearms, the way his laugh rumbled low and true. It had been months since Sarah left, since the fights turned to silence, since I admitted to myself in the quiet of our empty apartment that her touch never lit me up like this. But Aiden? He was Jake's friend. Off limits. A fantasy I buried under layers of denial. Dinner was reheated chili from pouches, eaten with plastic spoons while stars punched through the ink-black sky. The whiskey flowed freer then, loosening tongues and guards. "Tell me something real, Caleb," Aiden said, leaning back on his elbows, the fire gilding his profile. "What's eating you? Jake says you look like hell." I stared into the flames, the heat mirroring the flush creeping up my neck. Marriage imploded. Turns out, I wasn't the husband she needed. Understatement of the century. Sarah had sensed it, the distance, the way I'd flinch from her kisses while replaying locker room glances from high school in my head. We tried therapy, but the words stuck in my throat. "I'm not sure who I am." Aiden nodded, no judgment in his eyes. "Been there. Loving someone who can't love you back the same way. It's a motherfucker." He tossed a stick into the fire, embers swirling up like lost prayers. Then, quieter. "Sometimes, you gotta choose yourself first." The conversation drifted to safer ground, favorite dive bars in Boulder. The Broncos' slim playoff chances, but the air hummed with undercurrents. When we crawled into the tent, zipping the flap against the dropping temperature, our sleeping bags side by side felt too close, too charged. I lay awake, listening to his breathing even out, the scent of pine and smoke clinging to him like a second skin. "What if?" he'd said. "What if?" Dawn broke gray and restless, mist cloaking the valley as we broke camp. Aiden was quieter, packing with efficient silence. But when we hit the trail again, he fell into step beside me on the wider path. "Race you to the overlook?" he challenged, that grin flashing like sunlight through clouds. "You're on." We ran, lungs burning, laughter echoing off the rocks. At the ridge's edge, gasping, he grabbed my arm to steady me, fingers lingering, warm through the fabric. Our eyes met, and time fractured. His gaze dropped to my mouth, then back up, a question hanging unspoken. "Aiden," I started, but he stepped closer, the world narrowing to the heat between us. Then the knife. Not a real one. Thank God, no blood, no tragedy etched in steel, but in that moment, as thunder growled closer, it felt like the blade of truth slicing through every lie I told myself. Aiden pulled it from his pack, a cheap folding thing for cutting rope, but the intent was clear in his shaking hand. "Caleb, if you can't see it, if this is just pity for Jake's sake, then yeah, maybe it's better this way." His voice broke on the last word, eyes glistening with a vulnerability that punched me square in the chest. I snatched the knife from him, tossing it into the dirt, my heart hammering like a war drum. "What the hell are you talking about, Aiden? Talk to me." He sank to his knees, head in hands, the mist turning to drizzle that soaked us both. "I'm in love with you, you idiot. Have been since that 4th of July barbecue, when you burned the ribs and laughed it off like it was nothing. Jake's my brother in all but blood, but you. God, Caleb, you're the one thing I can't have without breaking everything." The confession landed like a rock slide, burying me under its weight. Love. From Aiden. My brother's best friend. The man who'd haunted my half-awake dreams for years. Rain pelted down now, turning the path to mud, but neither of us moved. I dropped beside him, pulling him into a hug that started awkward and desperate, then melted into something fierce, his sobs muffled against my shoulder. "I didn't know," I murmured, rain mixing with tears on my face. I felt it too. The pull. "But Jake." "Forget Jake for a second." He pulled back, cupping my face, thumbs rough against my stubble. "This is us. Here. Now." Our lips met in the downpour, tentative at first, then hungry, a collision of need and fear and years of what-ifs. His mouth tasted of coffee and salt, hands fisting in my wet shirt as the storm raged around us. It was messy, imperfect, the kind of kiss that rewrites your story mid-sentence. But as lightning cracked overhead, illuminating the valley below, a sliver of doubt wormed in. Jake. The betrayal already blooming, unspoken. What had we just unleashed? We stumbled back to the tent in a haze of soaked clothes and stolen touches, the storm chasing us like an angry god. Aiden's hand stayed locked in mine, a lifeline through the gale, but as we stripped off our dripping layers by lantern light, reality seeped in colder than the wind. His body was all lean muscle and faded scars, a thin white line across his ribs from a childhood fall, another jagged one on his thigh from a bar fight he never detailed. I traced it with my fingers, heart pounding, but he caught my wrist gently. "Not like this, Caleb. Not in a puddle on the floor of a cheap tent." I nodded, swallowing the ache, and we zipped into dry bags, the space between us humming with unspoken promises. Sleep came fitful, his arm slung over my waist like an anchor, dreams tangled with flashes of Jake's face, grinning, oblivious at our last poker night. Betrayal. The word echoed in my skull, sharp as the knife we'd discarded. Morning brought blue skies mocking the night's fury, steam rising from the pines like breath from the earth. Aiden woke first, brewing coffee over the rekindled fire, his smile tentative but real. "About last night," he started, handing me a mug, our knees brushing as we sat on logs. "Yeah," I sipped, scalding my tongue, buying time. "That was intense." He laughed, low and rueful. "Understatement. Look, I get it if you need to process." "Hell, I do. But I'm not sorry. Not for feeling it. Not for saying it." I met his eyes, that piercing blue steady as the horizon. "Me neither. But Jake, he's family. If he finds out," Aiden's jaw tightened. "He will. Eventually. Question is, do we tell him now, or let it blow up later?" He reached for my hand, lacing our fingers. "I'm all in, Caleb. But only if you are." The hike down was easier terrain but heavier hearts, conversation weaving between light banter and raw truths. Aiden opened up about his ex, a guy named Tyler from his bartending days in Austin. Fiery passion that burned out in accusations and a black eye Aiden swore he'd never repeat. He said I was too closed off, too afraid to come out proper. Maybe he was right. His voice softened. But with you, it's different. Like I could breathe again. I shared fragments of my own wreckage. The wedding to Sarah after college. Pressure from our folks in suburban Ohio to settle down. The nights I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering why her body against mine felt like a polite obligation. "I thought it was just cold feet," I admitted as we crossed a rushing creek, water icy over our boots. Turns out, it was my whole damn foundation cracked. By midday, we hit a meadow carpeted in lupin, purple spikes nodding in the breeze. Aiden spread a blanket from his pack, pulling out sandwiches and that damn whiskey. We ate leaning against each other, shoulders touching, the intimacy building like a slow fire. "Remember that time at the lake house?" he asked, feeding me a grape with a grin. "You and Jake cannonballed off the dock, and I hung back like a coward." "You weren't a coward," I said, popping the grape, juice sweet on my lips. "You were nursing that sprained ankle from soccer." He shook his head. "Nah. Truth, I was watching you. The way the sun hit your hair when you surfaced, laughing. Jake didn't notice, but I did. Every time, heat flooded me, not from the sun but from the weight of it, years of quiet longing, mirrored back." I turned, capturing his mouth in a kiss that tasted of grapes and freedom, hands roaming freer now, mapping collarbones and hips over fabric. We didn't go further. Not yet. The trail called, and with it, the world waiting below. But the promise lingered, electric. That night, back at Aiden's truck in the parking lot, we lingered in the cab, engine idling against the chill. His hand on my thigh, thumb circling lazy patterns. "Come back to my place," he murmured against my neck. "Denver's only an hour. Jake's out of town till Tuesday." I hesitated, the devil and angel dueling in my chest. What if he calls? What if? Then we answer. Together, his eyes held mine, fierce. Or we hide forever, and that's no life. We drove in silence broken by radio static and classic rock. My hand on his knee, the city lights smearing like watercolor as we hit I-36. Aiden's apartment was a third-floor walk-up in Lodo, brick walls and exposed beams, the kind of place that screamed bachelor with a soul. Bookshelves crammed with Kerouac and climbing guides, a guitar gathering dust in the corner. He poured wine, red and bold, and we talked till midnight on his worn leather couch. Legs tangled, kisses deepening until clothes hit the floor. It was slow at first, reverent, exploring scars and sighs, learning the map of each other. Aiden's touch was sure, guiding without demanding, whispers of "you good?" and like that, grounding me as nerves frayed into bliss. When we came together, it was a revelation, bodies sinking like we'd always known the rhythm. Afterward, curled against him, sweat cooling on skin, I traced the tattoo on his shoulder, a compass rose, ink faded from time. "For finding your way?" I asked. He kissed my temple. "For remembering north, even when the world's spinning." Sunday blurred into domestic bliss. Breakfast burritos from the corner taqueria, a lazy hike in City Park where we held hands hidden by the trees, pretending we were just two guys killing time. But Monday morning, reality intruded like a hangover. My phone buzzed with a text from Jake. "How was the hike? Aiden treat you right? Beers tonight?" Guilt twisted like a knife. I showed Aiden, and he sighed, rubbing his face. "We gotta tell him." Clean break. That night at the bar, a dive called the Grizzly Rose, neon signs buzzing over pool tables. Jake enveloped me in a bear hug, oblivious. "Bro, you look alive. Mountains work magic." "Ha!" He clapped Aiden on the back, ordering rounds of cores. Aiden played it cool, laughing at Jake's stories, but his foot nudged mine under the table, a secret anchor. As the night wore on, Jake got loose, slinging an arm around Aiden. This guy's my rock, man. Saved my ass more times than I can count. His eyes flicked to me, proud. You two getting along? Aiden's family. The word hung heavy. Aiden's smile faltered, just a twitch. Yeah, Jake. More than you know. We left separately, Aiden and I stealing a kiss in the alley shadows, but the seed of fracture was planted. Tuesday, Jake cornered me at the gym, spotting me on bench presses. Something's up with Aiden. He canceled our climb this weekend, said he's got personal shit. You notice anything on the hike? My reps faltered, bar wobbling. Nah, man. Probably just tired. Jake's eyes narrowed, brotherly intuition sharp. Bullshit. Spill. I deflected, but the lie tasted bitter. That night, Aiden and I fought our first real fight. Not yelling, but the quiet kind that carves deeper. We can't keep sneaking, he said, pacing his living room, shirtless and agitated. It's poisoning us. Then what? Tell him and watch it all burn. I shot back, fear sharpening my words. He stopped, hurt flashing. You think I'd hurt Jake? Or you? This isn't some fling. Caleb. It's us. We made up in bed. Apologies murmured against skin, but the crack lingered. Weeks turned to a fragile routine. Stolen weekends in the mountains. Nights at his place when Jake was on shift at the firehouse. Aiden's job as a guide for an outfitter kept him outdoors, sun-kissed and distant some days, while I plugged away at my graphic design gig, screens blurring with unfinished mock-ups. Love bloomed in the margins, notes left in lunch bags, playlists shared via text, but so did the shadows. Then, the betrayal. It came via a photo on Jake's Instagram. Him and Aiden at a Broncos tailgate, arms slung around a third guy, tall, dark-haired, grinning like he owned the spotlight. Caption: Reunited with old flame Tyler. Boys' night out, who needs therapy? Brothers before hoes. My stomach dropped. Tyler. The ex Aiden had buried in past tense. I confronted him that night, phone shoved in his face as he walked in the door. What the fuck is this? Aiden's face drained of color. Caleb. It's not. Jake invited him. I didn't know he'd show. But you didn't leave. You posed. With him. Jealousy clawed. Irrational but real. Mingling with the deeper fear. That I was the detour. The experiment. It's nothing. Jake was hammered. Pushing shots. Save it. I grabbed my jacket. Storming out into the Denver chill. The city lights mocking my unraveling. Hours later, my phone lit with voicemails. Aiden's pleas. Then Jake's confusion. Dude, where you at? Aiden's wrecked. Said you two had a fight? What's going on? The dam broke. I drove to Jake's, pounding on his door till he answered in boxers and a Broncos tee, bleary-eyed. Caleb? It's 2 a.m. I love him, I blurted, the words tumbling free. Aiden. Not you. Not Sarah. Not anyone else. Him. Jake's face cycled through shock. Hurt. Fury. Landing on something broken. My best friend? And you didn't tell me? He stepped back. Door half closed. Get out. Both of you. I need time. I left in tears. Crashing at a motel. The betrayal threefold. Mine to Jake. Aiden's perceived slight. And the lie we'd lived. Dawn found me hiking alone in the foothills. Echoes of that first ridge mocking me. What had we unleashed? The motel room smelled of stale smoke and regret. The kind of place truckers crashed after bad decisions. I stared at the peeling wallpaper. Phone silent since Jake's last text. Don't call. Processing. Aiden's messages piled up. 20, then 30, each more desperate. Please, baby. Let me explain. I love you. But the photo burned in my mind. Tyler's arm casual around Aiden's waist. Jake's grin oblivious. Betrayal wasn't just the pose. It was the ease of it, the life Aiden had before me, one where he didn't have to hide. By noon, I was back on the trail Chautauqua this time, the flatirons looming like judgmental sentinels. Boulder locals swarmed the paths, but I pushed hard, calves screaming up the Mesa Trail, sweat purging the poison. At the summit, wind-whipped and alone, I sank onto a rock, the valley unfolding in indifferent beauty. How had we gotten here, from that rain-soaked kiss to this fracture, all in a month's fever dream? Aiden found me there, truck parked crooked at the trailhead. He must have driven every switchback, I scanning like a bloodhound. Caleb! His voice carried on the gusts as he jogged up, out of breath, flannel untucked and eyes red-rimmed. Thank God! I stood, arms crossed, the distance between us a chasm wider than the gorge below. How'd you know I'd be here? Jake mentioned once. This is your thinking spot, after fights with Sarah. He winced, closing the gap. Look, Tyler's ancient history. Jake texted him as a joke. Hey, bring back the old crew, and he showed. We talked for 5 minutes, awkward as hell, then I left early. That's it. Why didn't you tell me? My voice cracked. Why let me see it like that? Twisted. Guilt shadowed his face. I didn't think. Jake was hyped, passing the phone around for pics. I smiled for him. Not like that. He reached for me, but I stepped back. Caleb, please. You're the one. Always. The wind howled, carrying echoes of our first confession. I wanted to believe him, to fold into his arms and let the world fade. But doubt was a vine, twisting tighter. And Jake? He knows now. Hates us both. Aiden's shoulders slumped. He called me after you left. Yelled for 20 minutes, called me a backstabbing prick. You a liar. Then he cried, man. Said he felt like he lost his whole world in one night. He swallowed hard. But he didn't disown us. Just needs space. Space. The word felt like exile. We hiked down in silence. His presence a comfort and curse. Hands brushing accidentally until I pulled away. At his truck, I hesitated. I need time too. Aiden. Alone. His nod was pained. Okay. But I'm not going anywhere. He pressed a key into my palm, his apartment. When you're ready. I took it, the metal warm from his skin, and drove home to my empty loft in Rhino, the city's graffiti walls blurring past. Days bled into a numb routine, work sketches half finished, runs that left me hollow, beers with strangers at bars where no one knew my name. Jake went radio silent, Aiden's texts tapering to gentle check-ins. Thinking of you. That ridge at dawn. I read them in the dark, thumb hovering over reply, heart a battlefield. A week in, the call came, not from them, but Mom. Caleb? Jake's not right. Won't talk. Barely eats. What's going on out there? Her Ohio accent, laced with worry, pierced the fog. I broke then, spilling fragments, the hike, the love, the shatter, omitting the knife, the storm, the intimacies that made it real. She listened, sighs heavy across the miles. Oh, honey. Love's messy, but family's forever. Fix it. For all of you, her words ignited something, resolve, maybe, or desperation. I texted Jake first. Coffee? Neutral ground. No Aiden. Just us. His reply took hours. Tomorrow. 8 a.m. Avanti. The food hall buzzed with hipsters and tourists, but our corner booth felt like a confessional. Jake arrived haggard, beard unkempt, firehouse polo rumpled. You look like shit, he said by way of hello, sliding into the seat. Pot, kettle. I ordered black coffees, strong as resolve. Jake, I'm sorry. For lying. For hurting you. He stirred sugar in vicious circles, eyes on the cup. You think that's it? My best friend and my little brother. Fucking behind my back like I'm some obstacle. His voice rose, then dropped. I trusted you both. More than anyone. Guilt clawed. It wasn't planned. The hike. It just happened. But I should have told you sooner. We both should have. We, he scoffed, but pain undercut it. Aiden's been my ride or die since freshman year. Pulled me through dad's cancer, that custody bullshit with mom. And now, feels like he chose you over me. He didn't. It's not a choice, it's everything. I leaned in, voice low. I love him, Jake. For real. The kind that scares me shitless. Jake's eyes met mine, searching. Minutes stretched. Coffee's cooling. Finally, does he make you happy? Like, bone deep? Yeah. No hesitation. He exhaled, deflating. Then, I don't know, man. I need to see it. Not just hear it. A ghost of a smile. But if you fuck him over, I'll bury you in the backcountry. Relief flooded. Tentative. Deal. And you, Aiden, give me time. But tell him, we're good. Eventually, I left lighter, texting Aiden, talk to Jake. Progress. Your place? His reply was instant. Doors open. The apartment smelled of takeout Thai and him, pine soap and faint whiskey. He pulled me inside, kiss bruising, hands frantic like we'd been apart years. Missed you, he breathed, backing me toward the bedroom. We tumbled into sheets, reclaiming each other with an urgency born of loss, bodies whispering forgiveness where words failed. After, tangled and sated, Aiden traced my chest. What now? With Jake, we build. Slow. Include him. I kissed his knuckles. No more hiding. Life shifted gears. Jake joined us for a cautious hike 2 weeks later. Awkward silences broken by forced jokes, but the tension eased with each mile. At the overlook, he clapped Aiden's shoulder. Don't make me regret this, asshole. Never, brother. Aiden's grin was genuine, eyes flicking to me with gratitude. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting the trails in crimson, and our triad mended in fits, game nights at Jake's with pizza and Madden, where Aiden's hand found mine under the coffee table. Romance wove through, Aiden surprising me with a weekend in Aspen, cabin rented under starlight, where we made love by a roaring fire, snow tapping the windows like applause. You're my north, he murmured, echoing the tattoo's promise. But peace is fragile in stories like ours. Winter hit hard, Blizzards blanketing Denver, confining us indoors. Aiden's shifts ramped up, guiding rich tourists on snowshoes, coming home exhausted but wired. One night, after a double, he paced the kitchen, phone clutched like a grenade. Tyler's in town. Wants to meet for closure, he says. Jealousy flickered. Old embers. You going? He stopped, eyes pleading. Only if you come. Prove it's done. I nodded, steeling myself. The meet was at a coffee shop in Cherry Creek, upscale and sterile. Tyler was polished, designer jacket, smile sharp as a sales pitch. Aiden, he drawled, hugging too long. You look good. Colorado suits you. Aiden extricated, gesturing to me. This is Caleb. My partner. Tyler's brow arched, gaze appraising. The brother-in-law? Intriguing. Conversation skirted minefields. Old hurts aired politely, laughs forced. But as Tyler leaned in, whispering something that made Aiden stiffen, I saw it, the ghost of what was tempting. We left early, Aiden's hand tight in mine. In the car, silence thickened. He's toxic, Aiden said finally. Always was. Seeing him, it reminds me why I left. But you loved him once. Insecurity slipped free. Once. Not like this. He pulled over, kissing me fierce. You're my always. I believed him. Or tried. Spring thawed the ground, and with it, new rhythms. Aiden proposing we move in together. Jake toasting at our housewarming with craft IPAs. Life felt solid, rooted like the aspens we hiked past, intertwined underground. Then, the real storm. Aiden's phone rang late one June night, shattering the quiet. He answered in the hall, voice hushed, then cursing low. When he returned, face ashen, my dad. Heart attack. In Wyoming, the ranch. The man who'd disowned him at 18 for a kiss caught in the barn. Aiden hadn't spoken to him in years, but blood pulls hard. I have to go, he said, packing a bag with trembling hands. See if there's anything left. I'll come, I offered, but he shook his head. Family shit. Let me handle it. His kiss was goodbye tinged. Back in a week. Love you. He wasn't. The days without Aiden stretched like taffy, sticky and endless. His texts came sporadic. Ranch is a time warp. Dad's stable, but weak. Complicated. Then nothing. Jake noticed, ribbing me over burgers at Sam's No. 3. Loverboy ghosting you already? Need me to kick his ass. His teasing held an undercurrent of protectiveness. Our bond reforged stronger, but I laughed it off, hiding the knot in my gut. By day 5, worry gnawed. I called. Voicemail after voicemail. Hey, just checking in. Miss you. No reply. Jake tried too, brow furrowing at the silence. Wyoming's spotty service. But this? Weird. On day 7, the email arrived not from Aiden, but his mom, forwarded from an old address. Caleb, it's Lydia. Aiden asked me to reach out. He's not coming back right now. Things here are raw. Give him space. Attached. A photo of Aiden in a hospital waiting room, arm around a woman who mirrored his blue eyes. His sister, maybe, Dad's bedside in the background, tubes snaking like accusations. Space. Again. I drove to the overlook that night, the one where it all ignited, stars in different witnesses. Rain threatened, but held off, leaving me to my unraveling. Had the ranch pulled him back? The family that broke him, mending now in crisis? Or was it me? Our life too messy, too exposed? Jake found me there at dawn, thermos in hand, his truck's headlights cutting the fog. Figured you'd be brooding. He sat beside me, pouring coffee. Talk. I spilled, the silence, the email, the fear. He listened. Then, Aiden's tough, but that place, it's a black hole. Dad probably laying on the guilt thick. Come home, son. Forget the fag shit. The slur landed like a slap, even from Jake's lips, casual in frustration. Don't, I snapped. He winced. Sorry. Point is, family twists you. But Aiden chose you. Remember that. Chose you. The words echoed as I drove home, resolve hardening. I booked a flight to Cheyenne, rental car waiting, GPS set for the Flying J Ranch outside Laramie. Wyoming unfolded in vast plains, wind-scoured and lonely, the Rockies a distant tease. The ranch appeared like a mirage. Weathered barns, corrals empty in summer heat, a sign creaking haze est. 1947. Irony bit. Aiden's last name, same as mine, but worlds apart. Lydia answered the door, mid-40s, lines etched deep around kind eyes. Caleb? He didn't say. She trailed off, ushering me into a kitchen redolent of coffee and regret. Linoleum floors, calendar pinned with vet appointments. He's out with the horses. Been riding like a demon. We talked haltingly. Her husband's stroke, the prodigal's return stirring old ghosts. He came for me. Mostly, she said, twisting a dish rag. But Roy. He's asking forgiveness now. Too late for pride but not for love. Aiden emerged from the stable as dusk fell. Silhouette against sunset. Hat low. Jeans dusty. He froze at the sight of me, then strode over, pulling me into a crush of denim and sweat. What the hell? You drove. Someone had to. I held on, breathing him in hay and home, but changed, shoulders bowed under invisible weight. We walked the pastures, his hand finding mine in the twilight, crickets rising in chorus. Dad wants reconciliation, he said finally, voice rough. Says he's sorry for everything. Mom's hopeful. But it's a lot. And us? The question hung, fragile. He stopped, turning to face me, eyes shadowed. I panicked. Called Tyler from a payphone, stupid, drunk on nostalgia. Left a voicemail, something dumb about what if, deleted it before he could respond. But scared me, Caleb. How easy it was to slip back, betrayal anew, sharper for its confession. You reached out to him? After everything? Not like that. Desperation edged his words. Just testing if the old me still fit. He doesn't. Nothing does. Without you. He cupped my face, thumb tracing my lip. Forgive me, the plains whispered wind, vast and unforgiving. I thought of Jake's words, our choices. Only if you come home. With me. He nodded, fierce. Deal. But homecoming fractured further. Roy Hayes demanded a family dinner that night. Roast beef and potatoes, Bible verses murmured pre-meal. Aiden sat rigid beside me, Introduced as my friend from Colorado, the lie a barbed wire fence. Roy's eyes, watery from illness, flicked over us. Good to have you back, son. This one's trouble. A weak chuckle, but the probe lingered. Aiden's grip tightened under the table. Nah, Dad. Caleb's solid. Keeps me grounded. Post-dinner, in the guest room, a sparse space with twin beds like a dorm, Aiden paced. I can't do this half-assed. Hiding again? It kills me. Then don't. I pulled him close, kiss sealing the pact. We made love quietly, bodies muffled against creaks, but passion roared, reclaiming, reaffirming. Morning brought resolve. Aiden told his parents over breakfast, word steady, Caleb's my partner. Love him. That's not changing. Lydia teared up, hugging us both. Roy stared into his oatmeal. Then, worlds changed. Or maybe I have. A pause. Heavy. Just. Be happy, boy. That's all I got left to give. We left that afternoon. Aiden's duffel lighter, my heart fuller. The drive back was cathartic, windows down, country radio twanging, his hand on my thigh. Denver welcomed us with summer haze, Jake waiting on the porch with cold beers. Wyoming didn't eat you? He teased. But his clap on Aiden's back was real. No, sir. Brought souvenirs. Aiden grinned, pulling me in for a public kiss, brief, but bold. Jake rolled his eyes, but smiled. Summer peaked in a haze of normalcy. Barbecues where Jake grilled with exaggerated flair. Nights on Aiden's balcony watching thunderstorms roll in, our bodies entwined in the afterglow. Aiden started therapy. Group for queer folks in the burbs, unpacking the ranch's scars, emerging lighter. I joined once, sharing my own closet ghosts, the room's nods a bomb. But climax brewed unseen. September circled back, anniversary of our hike looming. Aiden planned a surprise back to that ridge, but with intention, a ring, simple silver band etched with a compass rose. Marry me? He'd say, under the same sky that baptized us. Fate laughed. The night before, Jake called, voice tight, Aiden's in the ER. Car accident, drunk driver on 70. He's bad. The world tilted. I raced to Lutheran, corridors blurring. Jake in the waiting room, face carved hollow. They airlifted him from the wreck. Broken ribs, internal bleeding. Surgery now. Hours dissolved in fluorescent hell, coffee vending sludge. Jake's hand in mine, prayers unspoken. The doctor emerged at 3 a.m., stable. But coma. Could be days, weeks. I sat by his bed as dawn crept. Machines beeping like accusations. His hand cold in mine. Wake up, I whispered, kissing knuckles bruised. We have a life to build. Betrayal's final twist. In his wallet, slipped from his jeans, a crumpled note, Tyler's number, scrawled from that voicemail echo. Call if you need. No call made, but kept. A talisman of doubt? Or just debris? It didn't matter. Love isn't clean. As monitors hummed, I held on, Jake dozing beside me. We'd fight through. The hospital room became our vigil, a sterile cocoon where time looped in beeps and whispers. Aiden lay pale against starched sheets, tubes weaving a fragile web, his chest rising in shallow defiance. Jake and I traded shifts, me mornings with coffee from the cafe, Him evenings with audiobooks of old westerns. Aiden's favorites. Stubborn bastard, Jake muttered one night, squeezing his friend's limp hand. Always did hate losing. Days blurred into week 1, then 2. Doctors spoke in measured tones, swelling on the brain. We wait. I traced his tattoos, the compass mocking its promise, north lost in fog. Dreams haunted me. The ridge, rain slick, his knife hand trembling, Tyler's shadow lurking at edges. That note burned in my wallet now, a secret I hadn't shared, poison or not. Mom flew in from Ohio, her practical hugs and Tupperware of lasagna a lifeline. He's a fighter, she said, fluffing Aiden's hair like a sun. Jake softened around her, the 4 of us a makeshift family in the face of fracture. Even Lydia called, voice quavering over speaker. Tell him Pa's praying. Wyoming tough, but you're tougher. On day 14, a twitch, his fingers curling around mine. Then eyes, fluttering open to slits, blue hazy but seeking. Caleb, a rasp, morphine thick. Tears blurred. Hey, you. Scared the shit out of us. He managed a ghost smile. Truck. Totaled. Worth it. Jake barked a laugh from the doorway, relief cracking his voice. Idiot. Get better so I can yell proper. Recovery was a marathon. Physio in fluorescent gyms. Aiden cursing through leg braces. Nights home now. My loft adapted with ramps and care. Jake hauling groceries like a pack mule. Intimacy returned slow. Kisses soft as apologies. Touches mapping new scars. A gash on his forehead. Faint line like a question mark. Beautiful, I whispered, tracing it in bed. Bodies reconnecting in whispers and sighs. But the note festered. One rainy afternoon, Aiden napping, I pulled it from hiding. Stared at the ink, faded but insistent. Confront or bury, love demanded truth. That night, over takeout lo mein, I slid it across the table. Found this. After, his fork paused, color draining. The voicemail. I kept it as a reminder of what not to be, eyes pleading. Called him once, from the ranch drunk, after Dad's sorry. Hung up before he answered. Deleted everything but the number. Stupid anchor to cut loose. Pain lanced betrayal's echo, but his honesty disarmed. Why keep it? Fear. Simple. Shattering. That you'd wake up one day, see me as the broken kid from Wyoming. Not enough. I took his hand, thumb over the scar. You're everything. Note or no, we burned it in the sink. Flame devouring the paper, ashes swirling down the drain like exorcism. Jake joined us for the hike back, 3 months post-crash. Aiden on crutches but grinning, autumn gold dusting the trail. At the ridge, wind gentle now, he pulled the ring from his pocket, tarnished but true. Still wanna, knee not bending, but heart wide. Yes, laughter mingled with tears. Jake snapping a photo, us tangled, him photobombing with a thumbs up. Winter settled soft. Holidays a mosaic. Mom's turkey in Ohio, where Roy and Lydia braved the flight. Awkward toasts over pie. To new chapters. Aiden's dad gripped my hand. Grip frail but firm. Take care of him, son. He's my light. Back in Denver. New Year's on the balcony. Fireworks blooming as Aiden kissed me under midnight. To us, spring greened the mountains. Aiden's limp fading to a swagger. Guiding again but shorter trips. Me freelancing from home. Jake met someone, a paramedic named Riley. Easy laugh and kind eyes. Dinners doubling. Our circle widening without breaking. Betrayals healed into stories. The knife as catalyst. Tyler as ghost banished. The crash as forge. One June dawn. We returned to the ridge alone. Packs light. No storms brewing. Aiden spread a blanket, pulling me down amid wildflowers. "Remember the hook?" he murmured, nuzzling my neck. "Knife. Rain. That insane kiss. Best bad decision." I grinned, rolling atop him, kisses deepening as sun crested. We made love there, slow and sure, bodies attuned to Earth's pulse, sweat and sighs mingling with birdsong. Afterward, ring glinting on my finger, we lay tangled, future sprawling like the view. Life isn't fairy tale. It's hikes with blisters, arguments over dishes, quiet nights where doubt whispers but love shouts louder. Aiden taught me that choosing north, even when paths fork. Jake walked with us now, brother and friend unbroken. In America's wild heart, we carved our story. Dramatic, scarred, but ours human, whole. And in the end, that's the humanism. Not perfection, but persistence. 2 men, 1 ridge, 1,000 what-ifs answered in yes.